everyone, how you all doing? I am back with an audio today. I'm sitting by the beach and I don't really want to be worrying about looking into a camera, and the waves are washing up and just sounding really nice, and the birds. You might hear a dog or two as well, so I hope you can hear this. And I just had been spending some beautiful days by the beach and just getting a lot of messages, a lot of transformation happening, obviously for everybody at this time of year, pardon me, but individually I just wanted to share a few things that have been deep transformation for not only myself, but I can see in the collective energies as well. And these, you may feel guided to listen, because these are a lot of deeper layers of things that we may have already, over the years, over our ascension journey, whether it's been months, years or decades, we've always been clearing certain layers of things. And I feel like a lot of all the layers have been cleared, that we've all been clearing, us light workers, or even if you don't even realise you're a light worker, clearing it, and you've just been doing your inner work and clearing out in your own physical and personal space different things over the years. So but definitely a lot of layers and surface layers and even deeper layers have been cleared out over the years. But I just feel like with what's happened in 2022 and the last couple of years basically, that this year did get to a lot of the deeper layers. And what happens is when, and this is what I've found over my ascension journey, that when we clear something, it'll clear it on a level, and it may clear it on that deeper level, but if it's associated with another wound of ours, another ego program, a limiting belief that we haven't quite let go of yet of something else, and that piggybacks off that that deeper wound that you've cleared, or aha moment or understanding, and what happens is it doesn't fully clear that, because you've still got it linked and connected to another type of belief around it or whatever. And I'll give you some examples, and this is what I'm finding is clearing drastically and transmuting, which is amazing at this time, and even more so speeding up towards the end of this year, 2022. And so I'll give you an example. Say, for instance, you yourself have one of the major, let me just say the major ones is our feelings. So we learned in 2022 that it's okay to feel our feeling. Not just it's okay, that it's absolutely necessary to go in and feel what we're feeling, right? Because we cannot, if we can't go in and feel the depth of what we're feeling, then we can't clear it. We can't clear that energy fully out of that trauma, that wound, that disappointment, that expectation, that limiting belief, that whatever it is that you've clung to, that we've all had a story around. So it could be a non-forgiveness to somebody. It still could be, whatever it is, not forgiving yourself. These are just a few things that, that are coming to mind that are associated with that. So say, for instance, you had a belief around your feelings of what you were allowed to feel or not. So say you have a feeling that you felt, and you think that, I shouldn't feel that way. Like I know I feel that way, but no, I'm going to try and shut that off. I'm going to try and push that to side. I'm going to try and be in denial about that. I'm going to try and, just run away from it, or move away from it, or forget it, or whatever it is, because there could be a few reasons. Firstly, you don't want to feel that because it might bring up the mirror of your own wounding. It might bring up a lot of stuff that you've got to look at and face. Secondly, it could be an external validation thing where, I don't want people to know that because they're not going to accept that, they're not going to accept me, they're not going to accept that choice I make, feeling that I have, that whatever. And so there's a few things connected with why we block off our feelings around a certain situation. And definitely when we're thinking of feeling of love, so you could be, you could have a lot of feelings and love for somebody, and you might have created a million different reasons in your head about why that won't work, or why you shouldn't love that person, or why it's not, I don't know, normal, you might even think in your head, or why it wouldn't work, or, you know, and it could be that there could be a ton of different reasons why you're creating these stories in your head, right? And so it could also be people in your life are saying, oh, you shouldn't love that person, or they're no good for you, or this is not going to happen, or that's a whatever, or your parents might not agree, or whatever it is. And so we move into a phase, we completely, our ego shuts it out, and we move into an energy of having to shut that off, because we just think, well, I can't have that, or I shouldn't have that, or I don't deserve that, or I don't want to, you know, it's too hard, or I don't want to disappoint people, or whatever it is, you know, because what's happening is our personal wounding is coming up around the situation of us not wanting to step in and speak up and express, or a fear around, maybe could be a fear around losing family members or friends, or losing situations that are dear to our heart, people, family situations that might not validate it or agree with us, or whatever it is. You know, you get the picture. I'm just throwing a ton of scenarios out there, but you get the picture. And, you know, they're all very 3D reasons that people have experienced over time of, you know, people end up in jobs that their parents want them to do instead of what they want to do, because they want their parents to be proud of them, or they want to follow in the parents' footsteps, or, you know, or they meet somebody that is a different age to them that they fall in love with, or have a deep connection. And I know this was my situation, and you think, how can this be so? Because the normal society pan relationships as XYZ, like this is the way. And this is all part of God, Source Creator, showing us that we've lived in this 3D matrix bubble for so long that we just follow the patterns of what we're told need to be, the programming, right? That's that deep programming. So we don't even think outside the box and realise that, well, actually, it's not about that. It's about love and connection and honesty and truth and going with your heart and soul, and being connected to your heart and soul, mission, statement, sovereignty, power, all of those things that we are as a divine being, that we are as an energetic divine being in this body, and we're not here to conform to the norm. You know, our missions, our roles, our return to the planet, our return to this physical body. Some of us are here for certain things. All of us are here for a particular reason, obviously, but you know, some of us are here for reasons beyond. We've got to crash down the norm, right? Where this is what we're here for, right? To bring in new earth and crash down the old paradigm. So we can't do that by following the norms, and in these physical bodies, and with family and friends, and with our limiting beliefs, how we've been raised, how we've grown up, and how we've done things, you know, how we've created our lives. From that, we don't even realise that we are, you know, in this deep programming of and I know everyone says, oh, it's programming, but no, I'm serious. Like, we're really in this deep programming of defaulting directly, even when we think we're spiritual beings and we're, you know, we get it, and we still default, you know, until we are aware of that deep program. We still default a lot of the times to the 3D narrative and that programming. So what I'm finding in these energies, that went on a little bit too long, but it was an explanation that these energies have, in 2022, have been bringing all of that to the surface, and what I've found in my transformation, the last couple of months, deeply, and even the last few weeks, that it's enhanced, is that that from all of that, we have developed, and not even realizing it, we've defaulted to feeling, and knowing that what we feel, but not feeling that we deserve to feel that way, that we can actually feel that way. Not just we are allowed to feel that way, we have responsibility to step up and know that that's how we feel. Nobody in the external should be ever creating any type of fear for us around that or anything like that, or should we be doing that to ourselves, right, from our own fears. And it's constantly but continually letting go of any way that we feel we should be feeling, or we know we're going to have to shut that off, and we don't have to shut that off. So excuse me if you can hear people talking, someone's just walking past with their doggy. So, we need to look, this is what's been coming up, is these aha moments of like, oh wow, I didn't even realize, I know I've felt it and I've acknowledged that to myself, but I didn't even realize that I was not allowing myself to feel that and just go into that feeling with no fear of what anyone else might say or think or do, or circumstances that will maybe, be a domino effect to that feeling. Too bad. That's the feeling, that's what your soul is telling you, and your soul will only guide you, and your heart and soul will only guide you from your truth and your feeling, from your highest timeline and path. It's your ego that will guide you the other way. So, and that fear, obviously. So that's the energies that I feel has really been coming through so much stronger these last couple of days, couple of weeks, a couple of months leading to that. And it's like this underlying deep energy of connection to the truth of what you're feeling, but in a deeper way, in a way that not just what you're feeling, because you might say, oh yeah, well, I've not denied my feelings, I know they're there, but or what, how I feel for a situation or a person or whatever's happening, but you might be denying that you're allowed to feel that way, that you can fully open your heart and engage with that feeling and go, wow, this is amazing, this is magical, and not give a hoot about any circumstances from that in the external. So because anything that's blocking you from being able to, and over the years of being able to feel that and know that you deserve that, and you're allowed to feel that way, and you're allowed to respond, and you're allowed to react how you from that feeling, and you're allowed to share that feeling without taking on other people's ego around that, or what their beliefs are, and what their feelings are, and what So people around us, they will respond from their own from their own wounding all the time. They'll respond from their own ego, and they're responding from how they would feel in that situation, and how they would be scared in that situation, and what they want in that situation, what they think people would judge them in that situation, right? And not you. So it could be you that's going through it, but when you seek external advice, people are going to give you the advice of how they would react from that, how they would feel, how they would, what they're going to fear around that, how they would be judged, feel the fear of being judged by others and things like that. So you must remember that, and as humans, we're being programmed to seek validation externally, to ask people's opinions, to go to someone for a problem. And I'm not saying that you can't seek help, but make sure the person that you're seeking help from is a person that does not have their own ego and wounding and concerns of people pleasing and what other people are going to judge coming into that. Try and seek help from someone that's from a higher consciousness than you, perhaps, that has been through it, that can understand. Like, I know, I'll give you an example. When I was going through a situation of feeling that, like, this is what I was feeling, but people outside of me were saying, oh no, that can't work, and da-da-da. I had one friend that I shared with, and she was a relatively new friend, beautiful, open-hearted friend, and she just said to me, who cares? Who cares what people think? You got to follow your heart and do what you want. And I was taken back, and I was like, oh my God, I've actually met somebody that didn't put their own judgment, their own this, their own that, their own fear onto it. And she was wonderful. She was wonderful to talk to, and it made me realise and showed me the mirror of, what have I really been doing? Have I really been playing out this scenario based on what I feel, or have I been playing out this scenario and acting and responding from what I'm worried about what other people would think? So these are things that we've got to look at, and we hear things all the time about, don't care what people think and da-da-da, but it's not just as easy to let go of that. If you have deep programming from a child of worrying and being judged and what people will think, it's not just a 5-minute thing or a week thing to just get rid of that, right? You've got to, it's a real deep program that you have to work through, and get. You're not just going to wake up one night and go, or one day and say, I should say, I'm not going to worry about that anymore, what people think. It starts like that, but the program goes deep. I've seen some really high conscious, guided spiritual people in there already, in a higher frequency of the crystalline body. I still see them on social media, and when I've spoken to them, that even though they say they don't care what people think, they still, I can feel in the energy, there's a deep feeling of them feeling that they're disrespected, right, or they're not honoured. And so there's still a deeper root there of why that concerns them, and why they're lashing out, and why they're, so you have to really get to a point where just your feelings override every single thing of the fear, right, where you can completely act upon your feelings, and not just act upon them with grace and honour and respect, but with just knowing that it's all deserving. You are worthy of it all. You are worthy. You're a divine being, and worthy of fully being connected to how you feel and how you want to react like that. And we have to, as a human race, have to really move forward in that space. It's the same old thing of, like, boys growing up, boys don't cry, so they keep, no, that's just one example. I visited a friend the other day, hadn't seen her for a while, and her cat passed away that she'd had for 16 years, and her cat was part of the family. And I've been around and known her for over 20 years, so I've known the cat as well the whole time. And I knew, she sent me a message and said the details, and that her cat had passed away. And the first thing I said is, and I happened to be in the area that she lives, and I said to her, where are you home? I'm coming around, because I knew how distraught she would be. That cat was like her child. She's got 3 children, but that cat was like a child to her. And in fact, her youngest child, her daughter, is younger than the cat. So the cat was there before, she just only remembers the cat being around. And at the time, so her mother was there visiting, and she said to me in a text, before you come, maybe don't mention anything because I'm just so distraught and crying all the time and staying upstairs, and I don't want my mum to see me upset, so don't mention anything. And I said okay, because I honoured what her words, but I knew when I was there that there'd be a time I would take her aside and say to her, you have to allow yourself to feel what you're feeling and not be. So what is she doing in that situation? She's appeasing her mother. Oh, mum doesn't want to see me so upset. Too bad. Too fucking bad. You have to honour your own, and why? Because her mother, lovely lady, but her mother's very, been through a lot of trauma in her life, been through war, been through lots of things where she's probably thinking, my mum's been through more than this is my cat died. You know what I mean? Who cares? Completely different situation. So when I was leaving, we came to the door and I was able to talk to her privately without her mother being there. And she said to me, I've lost family members that I don't feel as upset about. I know it sounds awful, she said, that I do about losing her cat. And I said to her, I know, because we have this human thing that we can't be as connected to our animals, our pets, than we can our relations, our family or our friends. And it's bullshit. And that's the programming. So, but see how she didn't feel that she could fully engage and connect and express how she wanted to express that she was feeling. Because of A, it is a cat at the end of the day, and what's people going to think? And B, I don't want to upset mum because mum's seeing me upset. So these are things, these are human programming things that we don't even realise we do. We just default naturally to it, and we do it. And that's an example that I was giving you because you might have something in your life now that you might be saying, I can relate to that. It might not be a pet, it might not be some other situation, but I can relate to that. And so moving forward and, for 2023 and ongoing, and I'm not one of these people that will put out a whole lot of messages about this is what you're going through in 2023, because I don't agree with that. I agree that it's all about what you're connecting to within that's creating your external without, in that what energy you are willing to transmute, release, surrender to, get rid of basically out of your energetic fields, and what you then can rise into a higher perspective, a higher consciousness, a higher vision of everything that has been an illusion, that's been a program, that's just been a whole lot of fuckery you've held on to basically. And I'm trying to keep it real, guys, and then I've got this fly that's flying around. And then and then once you can, the more basically that we can get rid of that, then that's the reality we're going to create. So people talk a lot about the predictions of the next year and what's happening, and as a collective there are certain energies that are going to arise, we know that, but it's more an individual job, because it's how much you've released individually and healed and willing to face your feelings, and not just face your feelings, but not deny them and follow them and go with that and follow your heart and let go of anything else around you that is nothing to do with that, that's not serving you any longer. And then again, that's that domino of not holding on to that, thinking I'm going to hurt somebody, or I'm going to upset somebody, I'm going to disappoint somebody or family or parents or this. It's about really having the courage, the balls, the guts, the whatever, to follow what you're feeling and what you know is right for you, what is aligned with your heart and soul, what you know you're here for, what you know is not just settling for some other life, some other situation, because of who I might hurt or who might be disappointed, or the the fallout, I guess, of what's going to happen, whether it's money fallout, a settlement of some kind, or a family, whatever it is, it's all just stuff that we make excuses around for not launching in and following what we know is what we're feeling, and that deeper knowing and understanding, that deeper connection with our heart and soul. So yes, there'll be a lot of collective energies and predictions and things being thrown around, but how that affects you and how you move through that and how you transcend and evolve to your higher self more and more, the higher versions of yourself, the higher timeline, your higher mission, your higher path, your divinity, your divine blueprint, whatever label you want to give it, but your highest divine being, the power of your divinity, the power of your divine being in your physical body, okay? So the more that you can engage with that, connect with that, honor that, respect that, be that, okay, instead of doing a ton of other things of what people want or externally, the more you can do that, the more you will transition more freely and abundantly and have a life that's a lot more blissful and joy and happiness and peace and creativity and just amazingness, basically through the whole thing. And so go into 2023 with the knowing that, yes, you could listen to a ton of different energetic reports about, Mercury retrograde in this, and this one's in Aries and that one's in Libra and that one's in Taurus, and this, whatever you're listening to, this planet's aligned with that, and here comes a portal opening, and here comes a retrograde, and here comes eclipse, whatever it is. And they, to a point, from one perspective, they are definitely part of the situation of the collective energy. So they play a big role, but they'll only play a big enough role. Actually, I don't even want to say a big role. To some people, they'll play a big role if your consciousness is buying into that collective energy of all of that. From another perspective, they won't play a big role, right? If you are in a consciousness of understanding that that's only going to play out in your world if you buy into that and let that happen, and that comes from the lack of, like, the fear you hold and the lack of healing work you've done around those fears. So I used to have a friend that he used to hate Mercury retrogrades because, oh my God, all these things I've mentioned are going to happen. And I'd go, I don't buy into that collective energy, right? From one timeline, it is real. From another timeline, it doesn't have to be. So, and what would happen if Mercury retrograde would come along and everything that she was in fear of would happen. And for me, it would not affect a thing. And she'd say, why don't you ever have anything? And I'd say, because I don't buy in to all of that you do. I don't create, because what we think and what we put out, rapidly we manifest in our reality. So straight away, if your thoughts are telling the universe that, oh my God, I'm in fear, here comes a Mercury retrograde and everything's going to happen, well then what's going to happen? You are vibrating energetically at that frequency of the collective that are feeling that, thinking that, and creating that. So you're going to create that in your world as well, right? If you are not in fear of it, then you're above that frequency and you're not going to align with that, and you're not going to create that in your world. And that's just an example, but that works for everything. So if you're vibrating at the fear of seeking parents' validation on something, or of best friends' validation, or something like that, or then you're always that's the frequency you're aligned to. So then they are going to judge you, or they are going to not agree with you, or not like it, or da-da-da. The minute you are so comfortable with it and you don't even give a toss about it, you don't care, about what they think. Okay, well, you can just go, well, you can rant and rave and carry on about it as long as that's your opinion, but this is my feelings, it's my life, and this is what I'm doing. I love that person, I'm going to be with that person, or I love that job, I'm going to stay in that job, or I hate this job I've followed because you wanted me to be in it, and I'm going to go over here and do my passion and live my passion, and I'm going to create, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do, so the sooner you do that and drop all that other bullshit and you step into that energy, that's going to align. And then those people are going to go, oh, actually, well, we're not affecting them anymore, they're not going to listen to us, okay. And what you're doing is you're actually helping them. You're shining the mirror to them to maybe start going deep into their wounding and thinking like, well, why do I put these expectations on this person? Why am I saying this? Why am I jealous? Why am I, trying to control them? Because it's a control energy. Humans love to control other humans. From their manipulation, from their narcissistic tendencies, from their jealousy, from their judgment, from their everything, because that's the wounding that they have within them. So they're projecting that onto others, and they want to control because of their neediness. We're designed to get another human to fill our cup for a lot of things, and so that's how we play out in life. So the minute you realise that you're controlling other people in those programs and you stop controlling other people, but sometimes that person you're controlling has to stand up and because they're allowing you to do that because of their wounding, so they have to stand up and heal and go through that and let go of a ton of the stuff that I've just spoken about, and then once they stand up, then they're not allowing themselves to be controlled anymore by any external situation or person. So then it changes the energy. It's not a looping energy anymore. Once somebody breaks it, then the other person can't react or respond the same way, because it's not going to have, they can try, but it's not going to have the same effect, right? Because you know why? Because you're not in fear of it anymore. You don't care. And once you don't have the fear around it, you let go and like, okay, whatever. And in life, we have to realize that unconditional love is the ultimate, that if these people really unconditionally loved you, they might get a bit mad, they might get a bit pissed off, they might whatever, but they're going to stick by you, right? And if it's your parents or your siblings or your best friends or other family, whatever, if it's anyone that is willing to walk away, then why do you want them in your life anyway? And that's the big question. We're so programmed to hold on. Why? Let's let go. Why does it matter? And go and live your life. So, guys, we have to remember we are here as an individual person, and whilst we are linked to the family that brought us into this world, connections, whether it's our parents, our children, family, other family members, partners, whatever it is, we might be linked to them, but we are all individual beings, knowing that we came for our own soul purpose. And what is that? What is that to you? What does that mean to you? And when you tap into your feelings, you know that. We all have the ability to remember and know what we signed up for, what our divine blueprint is, and what we signed up for when we came in here. And some people might say, oh, I know that was just for me to, have this particular life I've got at the moment. But you will really know what it is, and anything moving forward that, isn't aligned with that, will soon be shown to you, to let go of. And so this is coming back to just finishing off, and I know this is a long one, but you know what, I haven't done one for a long time on here on YouTube, so I feel like I'm just sharing lots of gems at the moment, and this could help you, whoever's listening. And if you're still here listening, thank you so much for taking the time to stick with this and listen, knowing and honouring yourself and your soul that's guiding you, that there could be some gems in here for you to take away with, to help in your situation. So just in finishing off, the last few days and weeks have been huge for me in acknowledging a lot of the deeper feelings that I've felt around things, that even though I've allowed myself to feel them, I have judged myself for feeling them. I've judged myself in a situation of maybe I shouldn't feel that, and maybe and what I realized is that it's actually quite interesting, because you guys might have this situation, not even realize either, that a lot of the feelings have been from things that happened maybe a decade ago, like many, many years ago. And I did not even realize that there was fragmentation in my energy and remnants of that I still had in my energy from back then, when I felt, I'm not allowed to feel this way. This is wrong. How's this going to work? I don't think am I doing something wrong? People are going to judge me. I don't want to share this with the world, because what are they going to think? How's this going to work? So there was a lot of that I was in a huge energy of that. And although I've healed that and moved beyond and realized that, I'm freaking worthy of that, man, I'm freaking worthy of feeling that, of having that, of that's my birthright. So even though I've done a lot of that clearing and healing work from that, it's only been the last few days and week that I went deeper and went, oh my God, there's still a few remnants of I'm allowed to feel into that. Because every time I'd feel into the energy and I'd feel how amazing it is, I would feel though there was also my ego was saying, okay, that's enough now, don't feel that anymore. And I'm like, okay, now stop. No, I'm not backing out. Why am I not feeling that? Plane going over, guys. Why am I backing out? And I'm like, oh wow, because there's still some remnants of what I felt back then. I'm allowed to feel that now. I'm allowed, and you know what? I'm allowed to express it how I want. So, I'm just giving you some examples. But at the end of the day, my examples might be different to your examples, but and my situations. But it's all energy, and it's all relatable. So, is there anything that you have stopped and blocked yourself from feeling, and not realize that? And when you go into it, you go, oh, hang on, I've got to come out of here. I'm not allowed to continue to just feel this beautiful love and blissfulness and incredible connection because of what I told myself years ago, or whenever it was I told myself. And oh my God, this is really cool. I can actually fully open and accept and surrender to this feeling 1,000,000%. And my ego's not jutting in and out, telling me why I should run from it, why I should not feel it, why I'm not allowed to feel it, why, X, Y, Z. Because there's always going to be a different excuse that we can come up with. And when that excuse is solved, we'll come up with another one. That's a human brain. It's a human technology. It's the human AI programming, right? That they've installed in us, that we're being programmed from birth. It's been going on a very long time. So I'm going to wrap it up now. Comes this plane again. And I hope you guys got something from that. I don't think there's anything else I want to add. But moving forward, I'm not on social media as much. And I probably will be on even less moving forward. But if you like this, tell me how you feel about it in terms of if it's helped you, and or don't. It's totally up to you. Does not matter. I'm just sharing, and I hope that helps. And we are divine beings that have just, and there's no judgment on ourselves. Forgive yourself too. That's another thing. Forgive yourself for feeling that you can't feel that, or you're not allowed to feel that, or it's wrong, or how's that going to work, or anything like that. Forgive yourself for that, however long it's been. Let go, because that's another part of the healing process. Okay. All right. Take care, and move into the new year with these words of creating from your heart and soul and being guided from that, and fully feeling what you feel and allowing yourself to be non-judgmental, not running from it. Okay, you are fully incredible and worthy of actually, this is it. Like, this is the situation. This is the truth. This is real, and this is not just okay and allowed. This is meant to be.